hiring early years and nursery staff. Today we are going over how you can hire more and better staff for your nursery or other childcare provision, and how to do it all the correct way. But first, welcome to the channel. Hiring staff for your nursery can be complicated, as there are many rules and regulations that you need to adhere to. From Ofsted Regulations to legal and HMRC rules, it can leave you confused and unsure about whether you're doing everything correctly. Well, by the end of this video, you should know how to best hire your nursery and early years staff, so that you can not only get more staff into your nursery, but also better and more qualified staff. We'll go through the process step by step so that you can understand the full process of hiring and managing your early years staff. We'll start off at the very first things that you should be doing for those of you that don't already own their own nursery and don't have their own staff already. Or even if you do, you can use this to recheck to make sure you've done everything that you should be doing in terms of hiring your staff legally. The first step you should be doing, whether you plan to run your own nursery or even if you're a childminder that's taken on your own assistants, you need to register as an employer. Before you hire any staff, unless you're classing them as self-employed, and before you make any payments to these staff, you need to register yourself, your partnership or your company as an employer. This is with HMRC. You will also need to register on a pension scheme if your staff are eligible for a company pension. Once you have registered with HMRC and on a pension scheme, you'll be given all the information like the codes that you need in order to start paying staff. You then simply need to get the software which works out how much tax they need to be paying and national insurance and other deductions so that you can send your payment information to the government. Don't worry if this sounds a little bit complicated. I do go into this more on the full course, and if you do want extra support on any of this, do let me know in the comments and I'll be happy to guide you. Once you've set up your processes for paying staff, you can then start looking for staff. This can be done by simply posting job listings on places like Indeed, at your local job centre or other job listing websites like Reed. You can also post specifically on nursery websites like childcare.co.uk and day nurseries in order to find your ideal staff. It is important when posting your job to make sure that you list things like your salary, the hours that will be worked, the qualifications needed in the role, and other benefits of your nursery or childcare provision. For example, do you offer on-site parking? Do you offer flexible hours? Are you term time only? There's lots of benefits that staff will want that you should add into the description if your nursery or childcare provider offers them. As there's a lot of competition for hiring staff, these additional perks will help your nursery or childcare provision to stand out over others in your area. It is important to convey your company's ethos in your job descriptions so potential staff members can get an idea of what it might be like working for or with you. Many potential employees will have access to many different job listings, and the deciding factor will not always be just the wage. Job satisfaction is a crucial deciding factor for many employees. They'll want to work in an environment that suits them and their personality. So it's important for you to convey the friendly side and the personal side of your setting or your childcare provision. Having a positive Ofsted and potentially comments from current staff members will all support you in helping finding new staff. Once you start advertising for new staff and you begin hiring staff, you then need to think about the legal requirements and your employer responsibilities. All early years providers must comply with the employment law. This includes fulfilling responsibilities to staff by respecting their legal rights, and responsibilities to the government by operating tax and other systems. This is essentially what I mentioned earlier with regards to registering as an employer and paying tax to HMRC. As long as you do this, you should be fulfilling your tax requirements. With regards to staff, you need to make sure you're fulfilling your legal requirements in terms of paying the minimum wage, giving appropriate breaks, and allowing appropriate holidays. There are other ad hoc legal requirements like sick pay and maternity pay, paternity pay, but those mentioned are the main ones that you need to be adhering to. Again, this isn't a great area to worry about. Many of the stuff you will be aware of, and again, if you need any support of this, do let me know in the comments and I'll be happy to guide you in this area. If it does sound a little bit overwhelming, then I would advise you to enroll on the full nursery course, which has a dedicated section to hiring staff. By following the steps in the course, you can be sure that you hire staff correctly and you follow all the legal requirements and you're ready to take on your first staff member. It goes in depth into the different areas of hiring staff to make sure that you do it correctly and you can put your mind at ease. So if you do need support on this, check out the course that's linked to the description. But as well as your legal requirements, you also need to follow the EYFS requirements too, which is the early years foundation stage. As set out in the safeguarding and welfare requirements in the EYFS, you as a childcare provider have a duty of care to make sure that all your staff are suitable and capable to work with children, and that there are suitable staffing arrangements to ensure that children are well supervised, kept safe, and have their needs met. A safer recruitment process must be followed when recruiting staff, ensuring that background checks are carried out on all new employees, and ensuring that all new staff and employees have the appropriate references, qualifications, knowledge, and experience for their role. In terms of qualifications, you need to ensure that a certain number of staff are qualified. This means that they hold a full and relevant level 3 or 2 qualification. At least 50% of your staff should be qualified. You can find out whether a qualification is full and relevant by going to the government website, which I will link in the description. On there, they have a list of eligible qualifications. You just have to cross-check the qualification you've been given and see whether it's on the list. As I said, you also need to do a background check on all your staff. This involves doing an enhanced DBS check on your new employees. This is to check whether they are eligible to work with children. It must qualify them to work with children and not just adults, as there are 2 types of enhanced DBSs. If the new employee is on the update service, then you can just check that on the internet. Otherwise, you will need to do your own DBS check. Accepting ones from other provisions is not satisfactory. This is even if they've just done a DBS in the last few months. You still need to apply for a new one under your provision. Though, if they've done it in the last 28 days, they still have the opportunity to register onto the update service, which is a lot cheaper than doing a whole new DBS. So I would encourage any new staff that does have a new DBS to do so. Again, you can find a list of companies where you can get an enhanced DBS check done on the government website, which I will also link in the description. But don't forget that as well as your staff, any trustees, owners, directors, and anyone over 16 living on the premises will need to have their own enhanced DBS check too. In addition to getting a DBS check, it's best practice to get staff to sign a declaration regularly to state that there's nothing that's changed since their DBS that could prevent them from working with children. If you need one of these declarations, then again, I'll put a link in the description where you can download one. The final thing that you need from your staff members in order to hire them, besides the payment information like national insurance, bank details, and potentially a P45, is 2 references from their last employers. Ofsted are increasingly looking for these references to be substantive. So it shouldn't just say that this staff member worked from this date to that date. It should have something in there that shows that there was no safeguarding concerns or even practice concerns when they were working at that setting. It should give information for you to know whether there are potential safeguarding risks. I know this can be challenging to obtain, especially as some providers are slow or reluctant to give references, but it is important for you to chase it up even if you have to call the setting yourself. And if someone's requesting a reference from you, do your bit by trying to give your reference as soon as possible. And finally, one of the big questions that I always get asked is how much should you pay your staff? And my response is always that they should be getting a lot more than what they currently get. But unfortunately, the way the market is, it's difficult to do this. So when you are deciding how much you pay your staff, you need to be thinking about pay scales, your budget, and how you can pay staff fairly so that there's reward not only for the job, but also a reward for different levels that staff may be in your provision. This means having a decent pay increase as people get higher in their job role. So your managers should be paid more than your deputy should be paid more than your room leaders, and your room leaders be paid more than your other members of staff. Getting this increase right is important, as you want people to be rewarded the more responsibility they get, but also it needs to be fair so that it feels justified for your other members of staff that they are paid less than the others. It is unlikely that a situation where your manager is paid 10 times more than your deputy will be seen as fair. When setting your pay scales, you need to consider that the pay that you offer complies with employment and anti-discrimination legislation, for example, the national minimum wage, equal pay rights, and statutory holiday entitlement. The pay needs to be competitive and will help motivate your staff as well as new applicants. And most importantly, it needs to be financially viable for your business, which can only be done after working out your finances. Whatever pay you decide to choose needs to work for you and your business as well as your staff. If you can't satisfy these 3 things, then you're unlikely to find the right staff for your business that will help you to grow your nursery or childcare provision successfully. So when setting your pay, the first thing you need to do is find out how much you can pay staff. By working out all your finances, for example, all your other costs and how much income you expect to generate, you can then work out how much you can afford to pay your staff. After doing this, you should check job listings in your area to see how much staff are currently being paid and what people are currently offering to staff. Hopefully what you can afford and what is currently being offered are at least similar, so you can be competitive when looking for early years staff. If you are struggling to make your salary competitive based on the finance that you've worked out, this is where you need to start thinking more about how you can make your company unique, thinking about what other benefits you can offer your employees. For example, can you offer discounted childcare for your employees? Following everything that we've covered in this video should help you to find more and better staff for your childcare provision. Now, if you ever had the idea or the dream of running or owning your own nursery, inspiring the next generation of children, creating jobs in your community, and being your own boss, but you've not known where to start, then you're in luck. I've created a course that teaches you everything you need in order to get started opening your own nursery. It supports you with things like creating your own business plan, working out your costs, plus lots and lots more. And the best thing is, you can enroll today for free. Just click the link in the description to get started now. I really look forward to supporting you. God bless.